Hey y'all, so I'm back with another video. Let me put that my marker. I'm back with another video. I just want to thank everybody for all the support, the likes, the comments, everybody that subscribes. Even people were DMing me on Twitter telling me how much they like my video. So I just want to thank everybody for all this support. It really gave me the motivation to keep going. I think that YouTube is kind of hard in the beginning because it's like it's hard to keep putting out content when you only have a couple views and a couple subscribers. But I really, I'm not gonna let that discourage me. I know you gotta put in time and put in your work for everything. I know the best YouTubers started off with 0 subscribers, 0 views, and somebody found their video and shared it, and people just start watching that content. So, I just want to thank everybody that took the time out of their day to actually sit there and watch the video. I watched it myself and I'm like, damn, this video long, but everything in that video needed to be said and elaborated on. So let me sit up. I need some more light. Everything in that video needed to be said and elaborated on. So the timing was definitely necessary. The time that I actually, what's going on with my hair? Actually recorded. So today I'm going to be coming to you with a Storytime dash awareness video. Basically, I suffered from postpartum depression and I did not know it. With my son, it was obvious that I was having postpartum depression. Like I said in the last video, I had lost my mom a couple months prior to giving birth to him. So it was obvious I was going through postpartum depression. Everybody around me saw it. But with my daughter, it was not obvious because I did not know it was the thing. I mean, I was young. I was only 19. So I didn't really know a lot about mental health and babies and, the tenth month as they call it. I didn't know, or the no, it's not called the 10th month. It's called the 4th trimester after your baby is born. I didn't know a lot about that. I had since I've gotten a little older and a little bit more mature, I did my research and I researched a lot about postpartum and, having a baby and newborns. Not that I plan on having another one, anything like that, but I just put in research to see why I felt the way that I did. So I'm not gonna try to speed through the video, but I'm gonna try to make sure that I don't ramble, which I won't always ramble, but okay, so how far I'm gonna take this back? Way back, what song is that? Oh, this Erica Back. This that Erica Badu? Yeah, that is Erica Badu. Way back. I need to listen to that song. See, I'm tripping. Anyway, so my daughter's 5. So as you guys can imagine, this happened 6 years ago, back when I got pregnant and all that. So let me go all the way back to then. So me and my husband got married while I was on leave from A school. We were already engaged. We had already talked about getting married. I would have to do a video on this whole how marriage worked, because if I go into detail how everything happened and all that, this video will be an hour long. So I came home for leave from A school, from boot camp, all that. And if you guys don't know what A school is, it's just a school that the military sends you to learn your job. Mine was in Pensacola, Florida. I went to Pensacola, Florida after I left Great Lakes, Illinois for basic training. So I went to Great Lakes, Illinois, Pensacola, Florida. Then I came back here to St. Louis for leave. I got her a day before his birthday. I got her on June 28th. So I got her on June 28th, his birthday, June 29th. I celebrated his birthday with him. We celebrated the 4th of July together. We celebrated my birthday, which is July 5th. And then we got married July 10th. I had to leave and go to my first duty station July 12th. Well, something would happen with my flight getting delayed or something. I ended up leaving the 12th or the 13th. It was something like that. I got out there and I was completely miserable. Not anything that the military did or anything, but I missed him so much. But in the military, after you get married, you have to submit your paperwork in order to get BAH. And we needed the BAH because as an E1, I could not afford to get an apartment in California on just the E1 salary. I needed the BAH. So I really couldn't afford to bring him out there. Well, we really couldn't afford for him to come out there until I got the BAH. And we can get an apartment, then he can start looking for a job and all that. So, I still ended up bringing him out before I even got to BH. That's a whole different story. If you guys want me to do a story time how we struggled and lived off the damn grid basically in California, let me know. We struggled so bad. We was so young though. I wish I knew then what I know now. But anyway. So he ends up coming out the end of July. Literally, I left the 13th. He was out there by the 28th. It was barely 2 weeks. It was a little bit over 2 weeks, I think. So he came out there the end of July. I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. I want to say the beginning of September, I found out I was a month pregnant. I conceived in August, and I found out the beginning of September. I can't remember the exact date, honestly. I used to know all that, the exact date. I used to know the time I found out, what type of test I used. I used to have the test, but I didn't move around so much. I done lost all that, but I could probably have him go back. Nope, I couldn't. He don't even got the same Facebook no more. But anyway. So I found out I was pregnant beginning of September, and we were like super, 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 super excited. I wouldn't say that we planned our daughter, but I would definitely say we didn't do anything to prevent it. I'll say that much. So we called, we told everybody else excited and happy for us. And so basically the rest of my pregnancy was awesome. I had a stress-free pregnancy. Of course, we were newlyweds, so we were, we did argue a little, but it was nothing that stressed me out. I had a good job. I was in a great relationship. We bought a whole bunch of stuff for our daughter. We found out at 12 weeks she was a girl because we actually paid for a 4D ultrasound from this place called Hi Mom in California, in San Diego. So we found out we were having a girl. We immediately started shopping. She had the world. She had so much stuff. And I would tell anybody that's having a baby, do not go buy all this stuff. My daughter did not wear half of this stuff. So imagine me being a first time mom in the military. I went and bought so much stuff. My friends bought me stuff. My mom sent stuff. His mom sent stuff. It was just abundance. Too much stuff. So I had a really stress-free pregnancy. We went on a lot of outings while I was pregnant. Went to the movies a lot. Enjoyed each other's company. We went out to eat a lot. As much weight as I gained, he gained too. We both got chubby, but we were happy. And so I was due May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. So I had already been to the hospital twice at this point. I had already been twice. I had kept on going because I'm a first time mom. I didn't know anything about labor. Every little pain I had, I'm like, okay, I'm in labor. This hurt. This hurt bad. But it was Braxton Hicks, of course, so I would get sent home. So I remember it was May 5th. Um, we had like ate and chilled out, and I was starting to have pains. I was getting uncomfortable. My husband's friend was there. They was sitting downstairs. So I said, okay, I'm about to go take me a bath. So I went upstairs, drew me a bath, got in the bathtub. I'm in the bathtub, and it's just getting to the point where I can't handle it. Like, I cannot handle it. I'm in pain. I'm sweating. I'm screaming, basically. I didn't even realize I was screaming. My husband said that his friend had said, hey, I think your wife is having some issues up there. And he said he stopped what he was doing and he listened and he heard me. He said at first he really didn't hear me, but when he stopped and listened, he did. So he went upstairs and he was like, are you okay? Excuse me. And I was like, no, I think that I think I'm really in labor this time. This hurts different. And mind you, my mucus plug had not came out. I didn't have any water leakage or anything like that. I wasn't really timing my contractions, but I could tell they were constant. They were consistent. They were unlike the Braxton Hicks that just came every so often. These were actually coming in a pattern. So I did recognize that and knew, okay, this is something different. So, um, we ended up getting all our stuff. We ended up packing up everything and heading to uh, Balboa Naval Hospital. That's the hospital that women in the military and the men, their wives, have their children at. Most of them do. Anyway, so we ended up getting there, and I went straight to labor and delivery. And they actually, when I went to the counter, the lady looked in my face and she like could tell, like, I was in labor. I didn't even end up going to the actual triage. They put me right in a room because they could just tell. And so let me just say this. I thought that I was gonna be one of those first time pregnant girls that was overdue. And I say that because, like I said, I didn't have any indications of labor besides Braxton Hicks. Everybody else that I was around that was pregnant, their mucus plugs, they told me some of their mucus plugs was coming out, they was leaking water. I'm like, no, I just feel fat and I'm hungry. That was it. Like my feet didn't swell, nothing. So, um, I thought that I was going to actually be overdue because the military doctors will let you go to 42 weeks. I know a lot of civilian doctors do it as well, but I know the military, they're really big on it. If it's nothing wrong with you, if it's no reason to induce labor or no risk to you or the baby, they will let you go to 42 weeks. So I thought I was going to 42 weeks. But this was my due date. I was actually went into labor with my daughter on my due date. And so I got in and they hooked me up. They checked me. I was like 3.5 centimeters. So they was like, okay, it's your due date. Your 3.5 centimeters will go ahead and keep you. They went on and got me, they got me registered and got me, what is the word? Admitted. They got me admitted, and my husband went and got our bags out the car because he had left our bags in the car because he didn't know if they were actually going to keep me. So we got settled into the room, and I'm still in pain at this point. I'm like screaming out in pain. And so at this point, it's like maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. We've already called everybody and told them. At home, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning because I remember my husband's mom was on her way to work. So we called everybody, told them I was in the hospital. I was going to end up having a baby that day. So it's 4 o'clock in the morning on May 6th. And so I end up getting the epidural. The anesthesiologist ended up giving me the epidural. And so I ended up taking a nap and I dozed off. And I think I woke up probably like 8 o'clock that morning. And they checked me again and I had progressed to like 4 centimeters. So they was like, okay, we're going to go ahead and start Pitocin so we can, speed up the process. At this point, I didn't really mind, because I had already had the epidural, so I wasn't feeling any more pain. So I'm like, okay, do whatever y'all got to do. They gave me Pitocin and broke my water to speed up the process. So when she broke my water, she actually saw it was meconium inside of my water, basically meaning that my daughter had had a bowel movement. And she was like, it's not a huge, huge deal right now. She was like, but it can become a risk if she has inhaled any of the meconium. I think that's what she said. Something along those lines. And I'm like, okay, so the day is progressed and it gets to be maybe like around noon or right before noon, maybe 11. And they check me again and I'm progressing but still slowly. I'm like 4.5, maybe 5 centimeters, if that. And so at this point, my daughter's heart rate is starting to drop. My blood pressure is starting to go up. So they ended up talking and they ended up saying that the best route would probably be a C-section at this point because of the rate that her heart rate was dropping. So I started to panic. I did not want to have a C-section. I did not want to be cut. I started to panic. I started to cry. And, the doctors was just, and my husband was just trying to go ahead and reassure me I was scared. And I was just like, so at this point on, I'm not gonna lie, everything was kind of a blur. Everything was a blur. I remember being wheeled into the OR. I remember sitting up again so they can give me more medicine in my back because when they gave me the epidural, they left like a tube inside my back. They gave me more medicine inside of that tube. And the medicine made me sleepy, but I was still aware. And I remember them poking me with a broken popsicle stick. It was like a popsicle stick that they broke in half that was still a little sharp. I remember them like poking my legs with it, and they asked me could I still feel it. And at first I could, and I think they gave me more medicine. And after that I couldn't feel it. So they're like, okay, it's time to start cutting. Literally, right when they say they're about to start cutting, my husband walked in. He's sitting behind me. I'm panicking. I'm crying, and so I start to feel pain, and it's not. I didn't feel them cut me, but I felt like excruciating pain of them, like digging in my insides and like pulling out like my. I don't know. I was in a lot of pain. I was in so much pain. I actually threw up. I was on that table screaming, like for real screaming. I just, I still to this day, I do not understand because I was so anxious about having another C-section with my son because my mother-in-law and my husband was there when I had my son, and the look on my face, just like, I was so scared because of the experience I had with my daughter. And so I didn't understand because when I was giving birth to my son, it did not hurt. It was a little pressure, but it did not hurt. When I gave birth to my daughter, it hurted so bad to the point where once they got her out, I remember my husband brought her over to me and like put her face by my face, and like I turned my head. I was like, I couldn't think straight. And I remember they, put everything back in place, stitched me back up, took me to the room. Got to the room, I still didn't want to hold her. And I don't know why, because it wasn't anything she did wrong, or it was just I was in shock of having pain. But this is somewhat a symptom of postpartum depression that women go through. A lot of women, when they have traumatic births, like whether it be a C-section or a vaginal birth, when that child comes out and that baby comes, you do not want to be around that child. And I was feeling so sad and depressed. It's like, why don't I like my baby? And I was feeling like confused. I was confused. Luckily, it didn't last long. Once I kept on seeing, like, my husband, he didn't put her down. He was like, he was kind of trying to figure out why I didn't want to hold her, but at the same time, I think he kind of knew, like, I just needed my space and my time. So I remember he was sitting in a chair, he was holding her and talking to her, like, he was like, you're so beautiful, Asia, I love you, I'm going to give you the world. And I'm like, is her eyes open? And he was like, a little bit. I'm like, let me see, bring her over here. So he brought her over there and he put her in my arms. And I just looked down and I just fell in love with her. I just fell in love with her. But it took time. I honestly could say, like, it took like maybe an hour, maybe. But that's not, I'm not gonna say it's unnatural, but it's not the norm. Most women are super attached to their baby as soon as they come out, because that's how I was with my son. When he came out, I was like, give me my baby, I want my baby. And I held him. I actually got in trouble in the hospital because I actually fell asleep with him in my arms. I actually got in trouble for that. But anyway, But after I got like that first real like glance at her, and I like got to really hold her and smell her and touch her, I fell in love. And I'm just happy it didn't last long. To this day, I don't treat my daughter like no different. Like, I don't mistreat her or anything because of that. It was just something that I had to go through for a second, and I had to get through because honestly, to this day, I think they didn't. It's something they didn't do right. And so I would say if any women out there just had a baby and you're experiencing this, or you know someone who might be having a baby soon, and you want to educate them on this, please do. Let them know it's nothing wrong with them. Um, there's nothing wrong with their baby. It's just sometimes as women we need time because that shit was painful. That's like the most pain I ever went through. That's not the most pain I ever went through. I'll tell y'all a story time about the most pain I ever went through. But that's some of the worst pain I've ever went through. I mean, I was out of it. And honestly, it's a mixture of postpartum depression and a sense of shock. So it's not your fault, or even it's not your baby's fault. It's sometimes not even your doctor's fault. In this case, I think it was my doctor's fault though. But it's normal, and just take time for yourself and let others take the time to bond with the baby while you're getting through your moment. And once you do get the chance to bond with your baby, don't feel guilty. You needed that time. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel like you need to overly apologize to the baby or anything. It's okay. We are human. We are human. We are women. So don't feel bad. I have some more story times coming up. I actually want to try to get 3 videos out today. This will be the first one. Um, I just got an idea of how another story time I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do the story time where I dislocated my shoulder. That night was crazy. It was crazy. And then I think I want to do a story time about my crazy roommates. That's the one I'm gonna do next. Um, ooh, I just even thinking about them pisses me off. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to stay in the same spot and keep recording. So if y'all see me with this same shirt on, y'all know why. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you for just anybody that takes the time out to watch these videos and to support me. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you and have a good day.